r/AskReddit by Reddit and chill. What's the dumbest thing a drunk friend has done? Dumb, but funny. Had a friend with a prosthetic leg, only he never told anyone about it who didn't already know. He always waited until a party was going well into the night and everyone, including himself, was plenty drunk. He'd then produce a large knife and get everyone's attention before plunging the blade into his leg. He'd then throw his head back and scream in fake pain. Oftentimes, people would scream in terror and go running out the front door. Everyone who knew him and were familiar with his antics would merely roll their eyes and ignore him. It was a funny prank, but a dumb one because sometimes the cops were called and an ambulance would show up. Cops and paramedics were never amused. And that's why you always leave a note. J. Walter Weatherman. Here, take my card. And that's why you don't try to teach your kids a lesson. He punched a horse, a police horse, with the cops still on it, at Mardi Gras in New Orleans. He spent some time in jail for that one. I once met a guy in jail who yelled at a police horse and was charged with startling an officer. Startling a horse in general's a bad idea. That guy got a 2-in-1. Startling an officer is a charge? I wonder how that statute reads. I had a friend in high school who got naked every time he got drunk. As soon as Jim was naked we knew the party was over. Edit. His name was actually Frank. Edit 2. I texted my old boyfriend of 35 years ago and he reminded me his nickname was Wolfie. I had a friend who would always pull out his balls when he got drunk. No D. Just balls. Sometimes he would attempt to play the piano with one testicle. It has been about 20 years since I last hung out with him socially, but did this Halloween. Sure enough, as soon as he was wasted he was necking back $1,000 bottles of wine he'd brought, which added to the weird he was all about his nuts. Still, at least he left them in his pants, but he spent the whole party chasing after me yelling tiny N. Huge balls. I produced 2 tablespoons of semen. Every time. Above average. He also tried to convince my husband to sell me to him. Sometimes he would attempt to play the piano with one testicle. Enough Reddit for today. I made it past that. The whole last paragraph is what got me. A guy I knew in college came to a Halloween party on roller skates and got absolutely plastered, and proceeded to roller skate up and down the stairs. This ended predictably to everyone but him, and he fell and got hurt, due to the anesthetic effects of being super drunk. However, no one realized how badly he was hurt. He passed out in the living room, and proceeded to pee all over the floor in the middle of the night because he couldn't walk to the bathroom. Turns out his leg was broken in 2 places. I also just mentioned in a bad roommate thread about a girl I knew in college who stole someone's cat while drunk and hid it in our campus housing apartment. Stole someone's cat while drunk and hid it. Did the cat get returned? Any consequences? I'd be unhappy if someone stole my cat. She had the cat in our apartment until the end of the year. We didn't know it was stolen at first. She said she found it and it was months later when we discovered that she'd found it on someone's porch. She did not take good care of the cat, so the person who watched it over the summer refused to give it back to her. We later found out she had stolen the cat from a frat house that would hotbox the poor thing. So it was kind of a frying pan fire situation for the cat. Bro, a bunch of horrible people. Hopefully the person who refused to give it back gave it a loving and peaceful home. I just can't even imagine treating animals so shitty. Drunk friend was relieving himself in a bush. Someone tapped him on the back. He turned round, still continuing to pee, to find himself face to face with a policeman. Poor cop had pee all down his leg, but saw the funny side. I bet each cop only makes that mistake once, lol. But every cop makes it once. It's their number one mistake. My friend claims he was abducted by aliens one night on his way home from a local festival. In reality, he drank way too much Guinness, tried to ride his bicycle home up the steepest hill in town, and blacked out in the process. It was 5 years ago. We just argued about it again this weekend. Edit. A consonant. Please start leaving him messages in random places from the aliens. Dwight. At 8 AM someone poisons the coffee. Do not drink the coffee. More instructions will follow. Cordially, the aliens. That is so mean. Fucking hilarious. But mean. One of my favorite drunk memories was when I was probably 17 and we were drinking in a friend's basement, and as everyone was going to bed, one of the people there kept complaining about how uncomfortable their blanket was. In the morning we discovered he had been using one of those big rubber bottom drugs, like the kind you would put in a laundry room or something. He was also literally feet from a stack of blankets. Very similar story with a friend, except their blanket was a poster board. Edit: today I learned drunk people are bad at identifying blankets. Same, but twist a mat instead of poster board. It does not provide adequate insulation. Same, but chew with dog shit on it instead of a pillow. One drunk friend was making out with a girl at a party on the couch, and turned away for a moment to talk to somebody, and turned back to start kissing again, only to realize he was kissing another drunk friend. Also a guy, who had stuck his head in the way of the girls. Edit: holy crap, this got over 1000 upvotes. Thanks everybody. Met close enough starts making out with guy friend again. r/Sedenla gay. Capitalists gonna capitalize. My friend was woke up one morning to the doorbell. There was a delivery guy holding a massive package. Turns out he got wasted and went mad on eBay. He took it in and opened it. It was a front bumper for a Ford Focus. He didn't have a car. He's gonna build it one piece at a time. And it didn't cost me a dime. You'll know it's me when I come through your town. One of the guys a group of us were with at a bar in an upscale restaurant got carried away and, in a full voice, so all could hear, said, "A round of drinks for everyone and the room is on me." Around 35 people ordered free drinks on him. The bartender put it on his tab. But when the bill eventually came, the guy had no money, no wallet. He had left it home. So the rest of us were stuck with a hefty bill because lots of people ordered the most expensive drinks available, single malt scotch, etc. If someone offers to buy you a drink, you get the same thing you're already drinking or whatever you would buy yourself normally. Buying single malt on someone's tab just to get something expensive is rude, and I don't feel bad they had to pay for it. I gave my daughter similar advice. If someone is buying you a meal, find out what they are getting and order something at around the same price. If they order a $40 steak, it's not rude to order one yourself. If they order a $14 item, it is rude to order a $40 item. It's amazing how many people are blithely unaware of this. When in doubt, order from the middle of the menu. Although I did once go on a lunch date where I only ordered soup or some such small plate item, and my date got offended because he took it as an implication that I thought he couldn't afford food. Not, you know, that I just wasn't super hungry. Edit: dropped an arm. So what stupid drunk thing did you do last night, OP? In the hopes that some stories here will make you feel better about what you did? Not OP. But unfortunately I was drunk AF last night and in Vegas. I ended up spending $3,000 at a strip club. Was my first time in a strip club. When I realized what I did, I think I almost had a mental breakdown. Jesus. Dude, how much does this affect you? Fortunately I had just enough stash to pay for rent and all other bills due by the end of the month. With the next paycheck I should also be able to pay off all the costs of the incident. I'm just really disappointed in myself. I saved up a lot of that cash for future emergencies and to just save money for any bigger investments in the future. But I just tucked it up. At least I learned strippers are not your friend. This happened in high school. We were roommates. The guy entered the room heavily drunk and crashed into his bed. He woke up about half an hour later, knocked at the door from the inside 3 times, and after a long pause, said, "Who's there?" Legend says he's still waiting on the answer. Oh my god. They were roommates. We were out at some bars. Friend got annoyed and started to walk home, leaving his coat, hat, gloves at the bar. This wouldn't have been a problem except it was January in Minnesota and it was -10. I am shocked he didn't get frostbite. Same friend also got blasted at a wedding we were at and hopped the fence to the zoo adjacent to the park the reception was at. He did not get attacked by any animals. He has since stopped drinking. 2 other friends decided to tag team wrestle our furniture and flipped a couch with people on it. They did the leaping high five to celebrate and one of the guys landed wrong and broke his foot. This was a week before our undergrad graduation. He had to walk across the stage on crutches. Amazingly, he didn't even know it was broken until the next day. Having a broken foot didn't stop him from leaving our house to go pee on a dorm he particularly disliked. Oh, and another friend who is once got annoyed that he couldn't get up to the bar to order and told the guy in front of him he going to declare a jihad on the guy's family if he didn't get out of the way. My friends tend to be idiots when drunk. Told the guy in front of him he going to declare a jihad on the guy's family if he didn't get out of the way. Okay, this is hilarious though. The guy at the bar was luckily a nice dude who didn't take it seriously. Ended up hanging out with him at an after party. The party begins. Drinking ensues. Devon, a young man who was built like an ogre, quickly becomes inebriated. Revelers form into various groups. Devon takes up a prone position on the couch. One of the impromptu assemblages of people decides they want to sit down. Devon proves difficult to rouse, but eventually sits up and scoots over. A conversation begins. Hang on, Devon shouts. The party goes nearly silent, save for the music. Hang on, Devon says again. The conversation resumes. Someone finally asks Devon what he wants. What? Asks Devon. What do you want? The other person repeats. Hang on. Devon replies. Hang on. Hang on. The phrase becomes a joke. Other people start repeating hang on to each other. Oh, yep, Devon suddenly exclaims. He then barfs all over everyone seated next to him. There are screams and some laughter as people flee. Devon lies back down on the soiled couch. Good, too long didn't read. Hang on. Hang on. Made me laugh out loud. Ahaha goddamn. Classic Devon. Don't know him at all but definitely classic Devon. The college equivalent of Hodor. Traffic was stopped after a college basketball game, so he decided to get out of his car and chat with a cop who was there keeping an eye on the crowds leaving the arena. She arrested him for DUI. Homecoming at my college. A cop car was driving slowly down the main street and a drunk guy thought it would be funny if he leapt out in front of the car and slammed himself on the hood like he got run over. Got slammed on the hood again by the cop as he was being arrested. Oh, and that same weekend an acquaintance drunkenly stole plates from the dining hall and was tackled by cops when he threw the plates at them like weaponized frisbees while he ran away. That last one is interesting. Years ago, my housemate had a friend over who got so drunk that he wandered outside, forgot which house was ours and broke into the neighbor's house. Wasn't there a case a while ago where a teenager did something similar and got shot to death by the neighbors? A foreign exchange student went to the wrong house for a party on Halloween, tried to get in and was fatally shot. An old man from India visited a local town in the US when his son and Dill had a baby. One morning he walked around the block and some paranoid idiot called the cops. They came and instead of trying to overcome the language barrier, one of them slammed him down and now he is paralyzed forever. I was the friend. I visited some college buddies for the weekend. After a night at the bars, we were drunkenly devouring pizza in their apartment. A Ron Popeil commercial flashed across the TV screen, advertising the latest Ronco gadget, a food dehydrator. I picked up the phone and ordered one for everyone in the room. 8 total. I even attempted to ask the nice customer sales lady on the other end out for a date. I did not get the date, but we did get our food dehydrators, and I got a $450 bill. We've never opened them. Instead, we exchange them every Christmas. Open one. Make beef jerky. Win. Jumped off a roof onto a trampoline. Missed the trampoline. Foot went partially through the gap between the springs. Broke leg just above the ankle. We thought we lost a friend after clubbing one night. We were at IHOP and he just disappeared. After an hour of searching we called the police. They searched for a while and one of the employees found our friend in the dumpster out back. Dead. Asleep. Good thing he was found. A few years ago in my city a 19-year-old kid went to sleep in a dumpster on a night out. In the morning after the bin men picked it up and he was crushed alive in the garbage truck. Horrific. You got a news article on this? Had the same thing happen in my country a few months ago. Except we don't know if he got crushed or incinerated. On the security camera footage from the street you can see him climb into the dumpster and never get out. Then the truck just grab the dumpster, empty it and drive away. The dude has never been found ever since. So yes, it can actually happen. Acto F a link. stood on the table at Steak and Shake, loudly declaring we were all her ducklings and the only way she would agree to leave was if we all followed Mama Duck out of the restaurant. Quacking. We did. After a few beers, I'd probably follow for shits and giggles. This is amazing, and I wish I could have been there. Being way too drunk to drive, his girlfriend drove after a party. He had designated parking spaces at his apartment, and when he didn't see his car, he started crying hysterically that his car was stolen. The car he was in at the time. Then he cried even harder for being dumb. It was me BTW. I'm the drunken dumbus. Not a friend but some guy who used to hang around us when we were teenagers. Kept saying he could smash some wire reinforced glass window with his head. After telling him how stupid it was enough times, someone said go on then. He ran at it and rammed his head through it, and when he pulled his head back out, left half his face amongst the wire and glass. Pretty gruesome really. PSSH. Fucking showed you mate. Bet you felt pretty stupid just then. Where to start? Got run over by stationary car. We were out for New Year's Eve drinks and it had been snowing. He decided to run and kick a small snowdrift in the road. He slipped. His legs went under the front of a parked car and his face smacked into the radiator grills. Picked a drunken fight with a locked door. Walked into a door and it didn't move. Cue 5 minutes of you what mate and you wanna start. Drunk texted his psycho ex for a booty call. Probably the dumbest thing anyone has ever done. Ever. Drunk or not. He slipped. His legs went under the front of a parked car and his face smacked into the radiator grills. Probably the best mental image I've had all day. A bunch of us were walking back to our cars when one up front hops into the back seat of a car. Not one of ours, but with a couple in the front seat. The woman calmly says, "So you need to leave." Funny as hell. My mistake, milady. Vomited all over his sister's new car inside passenger door and seat. Did a Mickey Mouse job cleaning it up and blamed it on me. 2 weeks later, after the smell was unbearable, he went and got it professionally cleaned for $100 and then fessed up to his sister that it was him. At least he paid to have it cleaned. And admitted fault. I know a girl who went streaking and passed out naked while drunk. Nobody saw or found her, but she could have wound up in a ton of bad situations. Jesus Christ, where were her mates? That could have ended very, very badly. Good question. I'm not really involved with that group anymore, but from what I remember, they were all over the place, and some of them were streaking with her but didn't go looking for her after. They aren't the best of humanity. Put a whole brick of cheese in the plastic still in the toaster oven, turned it on and then went to bed. Gotta have my cheese, John. 2 friends. They made a bet on who could swim the farthest underwater. Long story short, they both went under and did not come back up. 2 of the entourage were EMTs and another was an Olympic swimmer. If those 3 people were not there, all would have perished. So everyone was okay? Yes. Thankfully, we had the right people there for sure. Otherwise, who knows? Retrieved a beer cowsie that fell in a porta-john. Ate food out of the trash can with the Constanza excuse that it was on the top. Same friend. Are you friends with a raccoon? Had a friend that, thanks to Stella Artois, would get aggressive and start fights most nights. The last time we were out, he was walking past some bouncers with a cone on his head. A bouncer took it off his head and told him to behave. My friend squared up to the bouncer, but the bouncer laughed it off and ignored him. We walk around the corner and friend says, "Ucking knob. Gonna knock him out." We attempt to talk him out of it, but he ignores us and storms off and pushes the wrong bouncer in the back, sending him flying. Another bouncer then unleashes 2 almighty punches to friend's face, who then proceeds to fall backwards against a metal shutter and slide down it like in a film, making a dud 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 sound. After we plead with the bouncers to not beat him up, we get him in a taxi where he starts crying because his girlfriend would be mad his lip is split open and his face will be bruised for Christmas Day at her parents' house the next day. It's been 20 years and I have not missed him. My best friend got drunk with his wife and her coworker, who happened to be staying at their house during a rough patch for about a week. Wife went to bed. Co-worker and best friend wind up copulating as you'd expect. The next day he calls me still drunk in bewilderment that he did that. I told him fess up or shut up, but whatever you do, don't try it again. He and his wife hadn't been intimate in months rather. The co-worker was cool about everything the first day. Nothing was said. No innuendos. No hint anything was amiss. That is until my friend touched her thigh. To which he responded never again and brushed his hand away. Well, as you'd expect. He got drunk again and thought he was good go and went for it. She slapped the shit out of him and told his wife. And found somewhere else to stay later that week. The wife did not take it well. This was years ago. They are still married. Too long didn't read. I'm convinced my best friend and his wife cheat on each other for attention of their ninja swingers. No hint anything was amiss. I'm curious to hear your take on the meaning of this phrase. Care to share? r/bony pudia. You know, if something smells funny bad it's because there is a mist of odor in the air you can detect. Right? Though something might be amiss with my interpretation. IDK. Not a funny story. Drove drunk, killed a twin brother in an accident, hurt the other, and hurt another friend. Car literally got torn in half. Friend was pretty much shunned. Almost committed. Was messy for all parties and we lost a friend. Not cool. The funny one. Another friend threw up into a HVAC central heating vent at a house party. No one knew. He didn't tell anyone till it got cold and they started using the heat. Holy yuck, did it stink. Yikes too. How bad was the smell? I'm glad you clarified which comment went with which story. Awful. Not like normal throw up. Baby formula puke. Mixed with bad skunked beer and hot from the heat. Family had to take out a ceiling to replace the duct under the floor. I ran the sink for a second to wash my hands off. We were painting. I don't even know where he got alcohol. And he said ooh, water. And proceeded to slam his face on the faucet. He's got a scar now. The innocence of this is heartwarming. Slept next to a drunk radiator and cooked his shoulder without knowing until waking up. How did the radiator get drunk? It smelled, my friend. Someone I know tried to prove that he can drive a sports bike on a straight road with his eyes closed when he was extremely drunk. He drove off the road at a high speed and crashed into a giant boulder. The bike was smashed to bits and he was very badly injured. I visited him at the hospital and it looked like his body was mummified. He has a giant scar on his face from the accident. Not really that dumb. She nearly choked on her chicken nuggets when we were waiting for the bathroom and then proceeded to cry telling me how much she loved me and chicken nuggets. Kinda heartwarming that she loves me as much as chicken nuggets. Cause that girl loves her chicken nuggets. My friend once downed like 8 Heinekens and drove straight into my neighbor's porch at 10 PM. Ducking like and subscribe.